Hello my darlings and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to tell you guys how I overcome the myth that is writer's block. So let me preface this video by saying that I don't believe that writer's block is a thing. Yes, I know. I have just taken away your excuse for why you're not writing. I am sure that there are a ton of people out there that will disagree with me because they use this excuse every single time that they don't want to write. I mean, can't write. But writer's block just is not a thing, guys. It's not. If you are not sitting at your laptop and writing, or have your notepad in front of you, or whatever you use to write, if you're not writing, it's not because you can't write, which is what a block would imply. If anything, a writer's block should be like your children running into the room when you're trying to write and to tell you that they flushed your makeup down the toilet. That would be a writing block. Writer's block is if you can't write because your laptop's on fire and every single pen and paper in the house is on fire and the walls are on fire and there's nothing to write on. That would be a writer's block. Not being able to come up with an idea is not writer's block. Because guess what? You can come up with something. It may not be the thing you want to write, and I feel like that's how it typically is that it's not what you want to write. It's either repetitive, or you feel like you've done it before, or it's just not grabbing your attention. But it's not writer's block. It's usually one of two things. It's either a lack of inspiration, which is also like just not even feeling like you want to write. Maybe your willpower to write is down. You could have a really bad mental health day or week, or you just are not feeling it, or you don't have the inspiration to push you into it. So like a lack of idea. Or it's procrastination, which is typically what it is for me. It's just that I don't want to sit down and write. So I could sit down and say, oh, I've got writer's block, I can't write. But that's just not the case. I don't think as writers there is ever going to come a time where there's nothing left. I have often felt like there is nothing left, especially when I've finished a bunch of projects and I don't have anything lined up, and I'm just sitting there and I'm wondering, is there anything left? Do I have any more ideas in my head? Or am I just empty? Has the ideas run out? But that's not the case, guys. So I feel like my lighting is probably going crazy. Is it? I'm so sorry, guys. I'm really trying to just figure things out. First, if it is just procrastination, well guys, the only way that you're going to get over it and to start writing is to sit down and write. Usually if I'm procrastinating from writing, it's because I do not have my laptop in front of me. It is not open. I do not have a document in front of me. I'm just not doing the motions to get started writing. So one of the things that I do is I tell myself I can't do this until I'm done. I have to at least write like 500 words of something. I have to put an effort in. Another thing that I find very helpful is when you are procrastinating is that you're not taking it seriously. And one of the ways to combat that is to start treating it like a job. Because if you are writing and you're self-publishing or traditionally publishing, or maybe you're just selling short stories, or you're a journalist or something, it is a job, guys. If you've received a check for something that you've written, it is a job. If you are trying to receive a check for something you have written, it's a job. So treat it like a job. I often write in my pajamas, but sometimes that can take the job aspect out of it. So get ready for work. wake up in the morning, get dressed, do your hair, your makeup, brush your teeth, get a shower, eat breakfast, and then sit down and write. Break at lunch, sit down and write. Get off work. It doesn't matter if you spent all day sitting there and only wrote 100 words, as long as you wrote something. And it doesn't matter if the next day you delete all of those words and rewrite them, because guess what? You're still writing. That's what matters in the end, guys. Now, I feel like most people that consider that they have writer's block is because they don't have an idea of what to write. So what I'm about to suggest are things that have worked for me, but not necessarily things that I'm going to say will work for everyone, because everyone is different. But I would suggest these things if you are struggling with an idea or struggling to find inspiration for an idea. So one of the things that I do a lot of is pictures. I have found that a lot of inspiration for me has come from viewing images, like photography, or especially like drawings. Things that people have drawn that are like scenes really tend to inspire me. There is an image that I based an entire novel around by Stephen Coydle. I believe I showed the image on my 2019 in review, but I inspired an entire novel just around this picture, and I was pretty dry in ideas at the time. So just seeing that image just forced me to start writing. And sometimes it's as simple as that. Sometimes inspiration just hits and you have to write. Another thing that I find inspires me a lot is to find prompts. Especially, say that you are in the mood to write a novel, but you don't know what kind of novel you want to write. What I like to do is to look up horror prompts, because you can either take the idea that you find and change it around to fit your own idea, because it's never going to be the exact same thing. And the funny thing is that you could give 10 different writers the same prompt and you're going to get 10 very different stories, because we all have our own styles and voices. That's just how it works. So finding a prompt and making your own spin on it can really help drive the idea. Or sometimes when finding your prompts, you can get an idea in your head just based off something that's said, and it won't have anything to do at all with the prompt itself. I saw a prompt for my story, Hell of a Dog. I was looking through things, trying to figure out a story, because I wanted to write something short, sweet, and get it out for that week, because I was also editing. And I came across a prompt about this guy that hits a dog, and he goes to the priest, and he like complains to the priest, and he gets his Hail Marys and all of this, and then he goes home and the priest has the dog, and the dog was going to kill him or something. You make your own spin on it. But none of that worked for me. But seeing the idea of a man hitting a dog and consequences coming after did. So sometimes it's just a jump start to your creativity to read prompts. There are also a bunch of other things that I feel like a lot of people mention, which is, read. Because reading can sometimes open the idea of, well, I could have done this better, and then you go and do it. My first novel that I wrote that will never be read by human eyes was started because I read Twilight as a child, and I was like, I could do better. So I wrote an entire novel where it was basically like Twilight's premise, but my story, but what I considered better. It's not better, they both suck. But sometimes reading can really set it off, as well as like watching TV or watching movies, because you could see a movie and think, hey, I could take that kind of idea but do it this way, and it would be better. So sometimes you just take your pride and you can get to writing. Another thing that I don't think a lot of people mention is to listen to music. My story that is in the Candisha's Press anthology Under Her Black Wing is inspired completely by a Panic at the Disco song. I asked on my Instagram if anyone knew what the title reference was. Only 2 people guessed that it was a Panic at the Disco song, and I'm feeling very emo about that, so I don't like to talk about it. But yeah, songs can be great ways to inspire you. This song, Sarah Smiles, the title inspired me because I was like, that would be a great book title too, or story title. And then just based off of little bits of the song came a story. And it's completely different than the song, but it's also inspired by the song. But it sparked an idea, and that's all that really matters. And then there's the generic stuff, guys. Sometimes to get an idea, you just stop thinking about it. Just take some time. You know, do things that you actually love. Go and write poetry for a day, or go take a walk and enjoy nature. You know, just listen to music without actually thinking about it. Draw, sing, or dance, or whatever it is. Go fishing. Whatever it is that you actually enjoy doing, because sometimes ideas are inspired by us doing things that seem trivial and things that don't require us to think about what we should do, what we should write. You could go fishing and see the biggest catfish you ever saw and give you an idea about a story of a man eating catfish. You know? Because one of the things that I have realized as a writer is that we have a different set of eyes. So going about your day and just doing regular things doesn't mean that you're going to just go about your day and do regular things. When you're a writer, one of the things that separates you from people that don't want to write or less creative people is that you view the world a little differently. So even though you're just going to the store to get eggs, that doesn't mean that you're just going to the store to get eggs. Because you could walk through the store and suddenly have this amazing idea about a crazy god of a pineapple. I'm never writing that story, guys, but I'm just saying. You know, sometimes that kind of thing happens. I went to the library once, and there's a picture that hangs behind the librarian of this really old lady who looks at you the entire time you're checking out your book like, are you actually going to read that? And it inspired me to think of an idea of an old woman in a picture that actually watches you while you're reading. Haven't written it because it is just very basic, but do you see what I'm saying? So yeah, that is how I combat writer's block. Not saying I have, you know, the secret, but maybe something will help you guys out. But the first thing to help you out is to know that it's not writer's block. You can't not write. You can write. Okay? You just have to find the way to get back to it. And there's no magical thing that's just going to remove the block. You know, you have to work for it. Just like with everything else, writing-wise, you have to work for it. It doesn't just happen, guys. Okay? Because that is procrastination, and that is laziness, and don't do that. Okay? Don't be like me when it comes to editing. So that's all I've got for you guys today. All of my social media and my books are in the description box down below. Make sure that you're subscribed to my channel and give this video a big thumbs up. And I love you guys. So, kisses, my darlings.